Good evening, campers, streamers, and babysitters, and welcome to not another edition of Splattercast. No, it's Halloween Day, ladies and gentlemen, specifically Halloween Ends trailer drop day. So, this has been something we've been anticipating. I've been keeping up with it on Twitter. We did post some reactions earlier today as shorts for the YouTube channel so you can get our initial thoughts. But yeah, we've been teasing this. This is something we've been wanting to do, or at least specifically I was advocating for because I love when YouTube channels do this of just sitting down, talking about it, breaking it down. And honestly, I think we picked the best possible movie to do this with because it's not really been a secret. We are not huge fans of the most recent Halloween films.
Correct.
Yeah, I would say that we have our issues with them. We haven't really gone too deep into those, but we will get an opportunity before this movie comes out to air out our grievances with those movies. I know we've been really talking about it for quite some time, at least doing both those films because yeah, I would say it's just been more disappointing than anything with
Yeah.
this little trilogy here so far.
Well, I mean, they spoke so highly of it when they came out saying what they were planning on doing and how they were kind of going to change the way that I guess Halloween was viewed in a sense. And I at least from my perspective, I don't know necessarily if they've done that. I mean, like from production quality standpoint, of course, it's leaps and bounds better than a lot of the other stuff that we had. But going into or retconning everything and then paying tribute to everything didn't really make that much sense to me, and that's a big gripe I have of this whole last, I guess, will be trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. I think that there's a lot of I think the biggest problem I have with it is there's a lot of really great moments. There's a lot of stuff that I think they did great perfectly, and then there's a lot of stuff that I just feel like is unnecessary, and a lot of I've been outspoken about having an issue with the humor in a lot of these
Yep.
movies. I think it's out of place, and I think there's definitely should be humor in it, but most, if not all of it, really doesn't work for me. Um, and most of my complaints, I'm going to go towards 2018 because Halloween Kills. After the 78 flashback, I was pretty much just like, that was great. And then I kind of continued watching the movie and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to have fun with this. Like, I'm seeing fucking Halloween again, Michael Myers on screen.
The
I'm going to enjoy
expectation
it.
wasn't there, I don't think. Going
Exactly.
into the 2018 version, I think expectations were pretty high.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just like, okay, it is what it is at this point. Let's go in and have fun. So again, like you, I was able to enjoy Halloween Kills a little bit more because I didn't have that expectation of I'm going to go into something that's really going to have a lot of gravitas to it. I think they tried it and it didn't really work, at least from my point of view in 2018. So Halloween Kills was a little bit more enjoyable upon, just sitting there and being able to view it.
Yeah. And so that circles me back here to Halloween Ends. So pretty much I had said to you a couple of times that I think, if they can right the ship with Halloween Kills, there's a chance we could really save the trilogy here and, actually be on board. They could make me enjoy 2018 a little more. Did not happen. So this one, though, just from this trailer, is definitely going to be different. And I think I'm excited for that because I just don't think that they're going to stick the landing, personally. So I think this excites me with just the fact that it is going to be something different than what we've seen.
Yeah.
Because what we've seen, especially for erasing the previous movies, is just a lot of the same. And then the newer editions haven't been the best. So it's just kind of like, if we're going so different here, and even when we get into the synopsis, we're kind of discussing a little bit of just how different this seems to be going, if this is how I'm perceiving the story from the synopsis, then I'm really interested. But again, I don't think it's going to be the Halloween movie that I always wanted. I think that ship sailed, and Halloween Kills kind of was like, okay, I can put that to rest. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's never going to be what I hoped it was going to be pre 2018.
Yeah. I think we're just along for the ride at this point. And hoping to get a few good moments out of this last film, and then out of Halloween Kills, because I mean that's really what I was going in. I wasn't 2018. I'll be honest, I was going in for like a very very uh adequate film that I was going to resonate with, and then that didn't happen. And then kind of going into Halloween Kills, I was like, I'm just going to try and get a few moments out of this that I'm going to like, and I did.
Mhm. I
It's not a
agree.
perfect film by any means, but it's a more for me a little bit more enjoyable just because I was able to sit back and just enjoy that ride. And going into Halloween Ends, I don't really have that much of an expectation. I hope they finish strong. I don't really know if they will. Um, Everything about the last parts of this whole trilogy here has kind of been a little bit questionable in my eyes. So I'm
From
not
what we've
going in for
heard,
a
yeah.
perfect film here. I'm going to be listening to that theme in the theater, and then just hoping for a few great moments.
Yeah, I'll give it. The Carpenter scores have been great. The music has probably been my biggest highlight, I think, coming out of both films. Like, it's probably my number one. Other than Halloween Kills' flashback scene just being so impressive, and just honestly my favorite part of watching that movie, and why I would put it over 2018. I
Mhm.
know that to some people that's crazy, but like I think that scene just bolsters that movie so much for me because it shows, damn, you guys can really make that Halloween movie that I was looking for.
Yeah.
Tone, everything, how it worked in that was great. But I think we'll save the discussion there for a little bit more on those films, and we'll kind of keep moving here with this one because yeah, we got some interesting stuff here, and I think that there's just a little bit more than I thought initially when I thought of this video. There's definitely more to talk about, but I think without further ado, we should just hop right into this trailer, which we are going to watch and discuss. You're just going to hear our voices, just going to be a little voiceover here. And we're just going to kind of watch it, discuss it, and then we're going to go through again at like half speed, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit about each piece in detail. So let's hit it. So yeah, we're just when this opened up with this tracking shot here when I first watched this the night before, which we should say this was supposed to come out today, ended up coming out the night before because people had leaked it a little bit early. So yeah, but I thought this was honestly where a little bit of my hope started to come up because this looks like some good old fashioned Michael stalking,
Yeah, this
which
was my
we have
favorite part,
not
to be
gotten.
honest.
Yeah. And this is up for a lot of debate. So that hand is supposed to be the one that he lost fingers on from
Oh
2018.
yeah, yeah.
And this is where the kind of Corey side of the story, which we'll get into a little bit more when we talk the synopsis, kind of comes into play because like it's gonna be weird, man. Like if they're doing a faux killer, like that's gonna be interesting. And I think just because I'm so over the tone and what they decided to do here, I think that I'm excited for seeing something that vastly different. But then you see in that other shot right at the end that when she stabs the knife in there, you see that Michael has the missing fingers.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they go a faux killer like that, they're not going to go the Jason Part 5 route where that's throughout the whole. Go ahead.
So many people have been making comparisons to that today.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the go-to. It's the default setting. You can't put in a faux killer for a legacy horror character like that and not go Jason Part 5. So it's like they're not going to do, I don't think, what Jason Part 5 did, where it's like Jason Voorhees is not in it and it's Roy the whole time. Like this one, I don't think is going to be, oh, it's Corey Cunningham under the Michael Myers mask and that's him the whole time. And Michael's not even in a movie for Halloween Ends. That's just not going to happen. It would be an
No,
extremely
I
questionable choice. So
I
I
wouldn't put
like,
it past them though. Like to be honest, like just with how they've been handling things,
yeah,
I it if it happened, I'd honestly just laugh because it's just like, why the fuck would you do that? Like,
yeah.
why would you go that route of routes? You know what I mean?
And
Like,
that's where it's like, I find it intriguing to see how they're going to tell the story here because there is going to be a little bit of a mix up, I feel. in terms of that, and I don't want to draw comparisons in terms of we're always talking making nods and things like that, but I mean, like, you kind of had that a little bit in, what was it, Resurrection, at the beginning when he's in the mental health facility, and the one guy who's like a savant in serial killers, so it's like, it would be hard to believe that, we look at Scream, and it's always like different killer under the ghost face mask. That makes sense. When someone becomes such an icon like that, why would they not imitate? So it's like, it makes sense if someone is under that Michael Myers mask because he is that icon, that someone would want to, especially being 4 years later. It would be kind
That's
of like,
true.
um, I want to replicate this, or I want to pay tribute in my eyes by dressing up like Michael. So it does make sense to me.
Now, there's another theory that we're going to get into in the theory section here that I want to bring up. So it's something that I actually spoke with my father about on Sunday. Just for a brief minute, we were talking, and I basically was like, "Oh, the Halloween Ends trailer is going to come out this week. What do you think?" And he said that he heard some stuff, and I hadn't heard this because I've been trying to stay away from this, but I think
Yeah.
after seeing this trailer, the cork's off for me. Besides, like, it's just old habits die hard with just like kind of staying away from everything. But like, I'm already so like, this is probably going to disappoint me that like I think I'm just gonna, if there's a theory or there's something, I'm just gonna listen to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if we want to hop back into this trailer here for a minute and go through piece by piece, I think we can talk about some of our favorite moments in depth, and then also just kind of you know where we think things are going.
Yeah. Uh, and like jumping in right here, I always think they do a beautiful job of setting up Haddonfield. They just never play in it enough, I don't think.
I agree. I think the color palette here, I think they learned a lot from the praise from that 78
Yeah.
sequence, because like the color palette is very on point with that. It's very similar.
And this
If you
feels
know.
natural and real. You know what I mean? Like, it
Mhm.
feels like this would be happening in a small town in Illinois.
It's those nice light blues that kind of give it that like cold October night feeling
Yeah.
that they bring back. And like they had a lot of like auburn and a lot of like orange towards the 2018 film, especially indoors and in kills. And you see it here, but I don't know. I think is it maybe just my nostalgia for when we see Lori here in the blue shirt that it's just kind of like I feel like it has a different kind of feeling.
I don't know. For me, this kind of feels like, I don't know. Lori is like the whole "I am woman, hear me roar" part. Didn't really feel natural to me, and it still doesn't. Like
Yeah.
her doing holding the gun right there seems like they're just trying to get a little cheap pop there.
Hmm. I knew they were going to reuse footage. They
Yeah,
they couldn't. They don't want to give away all their secrets here. And I kind of hope this is the only trailer we get.
yeah, that would be a nice thought, but I don't see that happening.
They're going to give so much away. But
Yeah, and again, I touched on this in my short where it's like, I don't this just seems pretty intense here, but I really wish they would have kept them totally separate from each
just
other
built
in the trailer.
anticipation.
Yep, because I don't think we need to see something that played out like that.
Hmm.
Just save that for me experiencing that in the theater, not in a short trailer.
No, I mean, like I could agree with that, but I mean they got to sell the movie too, which and for a lot of people, like seeing Michael and Laurie clash is gonna be a huge
But
draw for them.
it's not gonna take anyone who wasn't gonna go see it and put him in the theater. I don't think it's Michael sells himself. The name Halloween sells itself. So it's like, if Michael's gonna be in it, you know that if Laurie Strode is in it as well, they're gonna meet at some point. So it's like, I would have built that anticipation for a while. Honestly, I know we're gonna jump in the synopsis here. I would have had this trailer play out. Almost nothing happens. No, not really any like terror, because we know there's going to be. So it's like, it's kind of built in. It's you don't really need to play on that, I don't think. So it would have been very interesting for me to kind of just play, especially for this being, what is it, 118 or something. It's a
It's
small runtime.
116, yeah. It's or the
So
movie itself.
no, no, no. I'm talking about this trailer.
Trailer. Okay, I was gonna
A
say, I'm
minute
like, wow,
60.
that's super fucking short. Like I
Um,
hope it's not that short because they got a lot of stuff they
so
need to clean up.
So it's like, if they would have kept this for even no Michael until that very last 2 seconds of him showing up in I think would have been a very interesting kind of feel to it, because it's like we know Michael's going to be in it. There's no way he's not. It's Halloween ends, so it's like
Mhm.
I don't think they needed to actually touch at all in any of these trailers that
Yeah.
we will get.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for me, and I guess we can kind of transition over to, I just want to know, like, what are some major likes that you have with this one? And then we'll follow up with some major dislikes. Because, like, I think that there's just a lot of up and down, just like it seems like this whole trilogy for me has. But, like,
Yeah,
I like the tone that they set with that tracking shot from Michael's POV. That's very 78. It feels good. I think that overall I like where the characters are at. I think I'm enjoying the idea of the time jump a little bit more
yeah,
than we had prior. Um, and then like pretty much everything else, like I I'm interested to see what kind of a cast we have because I mean we're definitely, as we see, we're getting Hawkins back, who I feel like has been a strong point. I think Andy Manichek's doing a good job. Like I definitely like her character, but at the same time, it is one of those things where it's like they haven't really done a lot with her. Like they
yeah,
kind of set her up like that she'd be doing a little bit more, but like Kills, she was just kind of along for the ride until the very like end of it.
yeah,
And it's just like I think that's a big problem with how they decided to pace this out. But we'll see. I mean, like they could fix it up. And then really I like the ambiguity of us just not knowing if we're seeing the actual Michael on screen. Now, they could totally shit the bed with that. And like that be like the first 5 minutes of the movie, it's revealed. But I kind of almost like the idea of this we don't really know. And maybe this guy is so obsessed with it. And then Michael can kind of become the true shape by the end of this.
yeah,
Where it's like we do see him and he is real, but it's like he just keeps disappearing. And we just understand that he's going to live on and he is literally going to just be out there. And I want to see the effect that Kills had on Haddonfield because it lives up to its name. A lot of fucking people die in that movie,
yeah,
especially in that ending brawl. Like a lot, like he kills like fucking 20 people. So
yeah,
like that's got a scar. And with you bringing up the whole, you know, of course, events like this would warrant copycats because we live in a pretty sick world. I think that justifies it because if you would have said copycat after the first film, he killed like 3 people. I mean, like, maybe, but, like, I don't think the infamy is there. At
yeah,
least I don't know, because like, we don't they never it's something that I was hoping we'd touch a little bit more on, but they talk about it for 5 seconds with the podcasters in 2018, and then it's gone. You never
yeah,
find out how infamous is the 1978 incident. Like,
yeah.
where does that fall with people? Like, I want to know more about that. Like,
Yeah,
what could have been?
and plus with that spanning from '78, now we're dealing with it's 4 years later from Halloween Kills, so they've had a chance to sit with the massacre that had taken place in Halloween Kills and the events prior in Halloween 2018. So, he's racked up quite a bit of a body count. So that 4 years does have a lot of people who admire Michael Myers to kind of come out and want to copy Michael in that sense. So it seems pretty true to form, like that would happen. It seems pretty organic. I'm just curious as to, like, I know we haven't jumped in the synopsis, but this whole Corey Cunningham business where we'll get into it, but like I don't understand how he plays into in terms of the legality of if there's an accusation there, how is he out and about? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Also, like, in what I'm getting probably from the trailer, and I don't know if this is true, but kind of reading that synopsis before we got on here is if that is him, if that's not Michael opening the door, and that's not cut in a fashion where it's like that's not even happening, where sometimes they play with edits where it's like him opening the door and in fact Laurie is on that other side with a gun. He's not Michael, so he's not going to get shot and he's not going to get up and walk out. So my theory could be that it, it's just a little blurb to trigger her, and she kills him right then and there. It's not Michael, and then those trigger the events for later, where she's trying to move past this, but now she cannot because she keeps being triggered by this stuff. So it's like, maybe people are thinking a little bit too much into a faux Michael, and it's just like he's there for like 10 minutes, just as a trigger event.
It would not surprise me just with how the layout works of this, because I feel like the fight in the kitchen is towards the end of the movie, and I
Yes.
feel like the stuff we saw at the beginning of the trailer, yeah, could very well be within the first 10-15 minutes of this movie, which
Yeah.
I think would be fine. I think that's a good angle. Now, where I think they could muck it up, and then we'll get into the synopsis, so that like I'll mention this briefly, so we'll get into the synopsis. But like we saw how they handled a lot of the political topics of Halloween Kills, where it comes to the mental health angle and everything, and
Yeah.
the evil dies tonight stuff that everybody always makes fun of, and it's just like it's ridiculous. And like the line I can't get over is the Sheriff Brackett line of just like, you know oh, he's turning us into monsters. It's like, yeah, no shit. Like it's just so heavy-handed that I just don't know if they could do that
Yeah.
justice. But if you want to, why don't we move into the synopsis since we've been kind of gearing up for this? Because I think it's the most juicy piece of all the news we've gotten today.
Yes. Alrighty. So, 4 years after the events of last year's Halloween Kills, Lori is living with her granddaughter Allison and is finishing her writing her memoir. Michael Myers hasn't been seen since. Lori, after allowing the specter of Michael to determine and drive her reality for decades, has decided to liberate herself from fear and rage and embrace life. But when a young man, Corey Cunningham, is accused of killing a boy he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that will force Lori to finally confront the evil she can't control once and for all. So pretty interesting there. I knew there was going to be a time jump, but we didn't really get that blurb of anything else that would be what would be going on here. That whole Corey Cunningham element is a pretty interesting element, depending on how they decide to spin it.
Yeah, and so I'll lead off with the going back to that conversation I had with my dad, just because I don't think it's going to go this way. It would be really stupid if it did, but especially with what we know now and having the synopsis. But he had mentioned that he'd been seeing online that people think that the end of this movie is going to be Michael, waking up from a dream.
Oh,
And I figure like how that goes because he keeps like looking out the windows and staring off into the distance
yeah.
is kind of the way it was described.
Like he could be
So,
sitting there in the chair looking out the window as a kid still, or
I
as
mean,
a
like that, or like literally we get to a point where everything starts to fall apart towards the end, and then like in my head canon, like I just thought we open up and we're back in the first scene of 2018 with the podcasters holding up the mask.
oh, okay.
And
What
it's just like all of this has just been in Michael's head.
what if
Um,
what if this is like it turns out that he's been dreaming the whole time and then Freddy comes at the end of it and kills him, and like this is like the way of Blumhouse announcing that they also have the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street.
God, I mean, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it. Why not?
Um, but yeah, getting back into the synopsis, it really outlines just a very different Halloween movie. And I would say an interesting different. Like I'm actually excited by this. I think it gives me hope that this is not going to be as predictable nor as formulaic as the last two have been, and we're not going to harken too much back. Like references are fine. I like the addition of the Halloween 3 masks and the hospital being a part of it again. Like that's all fine and dandy, but like really what I don't like is just taking almost near exact scenarios from the old films and putting them in here. And one that I see them doing in this trailer is it looks like Michael Myers is hanging out in a sewer at some point.
Yeah.
And I think that is supposed to be Corey Cunningham
Oh, okay.
walking down there. I believe that's the actor. What is it? Rowan Campbell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just like one of those things where it's like, so is he gonna be like an obsessed guy and is gonna trigger Lori and all this shit, and then he's actually gonna get found by Michael and murdered? I don't know, because it looks like he's getting grabbed in the sewer.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are talking about how that's the real Michael because the hands all like gangrenous and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, there's some stuff to be thrown there about how they're going to handle this, but it's at least refreshing to hear that we're going to get something kind of new.
Yeah. No, it's intriguing. I think the story elements of this actually do intrigue me. I thought the podcaster angle from 2018 was a little lame, pretty generic. We didn't get that much in terms of story for Halloween Kills. And this one kind of seems like it's setting its own path. Now, again, that Corey Cunningham angle here can go good or it can go bad. It's the real
Yes.
wild card deciding
Yeah,
factor
it's
here
it's
because
very different.
I don't want them to play this as just like a trigger event that spirals Lori out of control. I hope that a lot of this is, you know, if Corey Cunningham is in fact playing a fake Michael Myers, that they occupy the same space at certain periods of time. So it's like you almost get this muddled. Is it Corey Cunningham? Is it Michael Myers? And sometimes it feels like they're in two places at once because they are in two places at once, because they're different people. So it's like I would love for them to play on that for a while and not just be a small trigger event for Lori. I think that you can get a lot of mileage out of that. I don't really have necessarily a lot of ideas of what they can do because this has kind of just been dropped in my lap today because I didn't know that those elements existed. So it does seem like they're really trying to do something different here. I mean, like the trailer itself, I don't necessarily feel like it feels like a different trailer in terms of tone for any of the other ones. I will say
Oh
the
no, like
synopsis,
it's
though.
definitely in line with
Yeah,
it, but like I think like the fact that I can sense a little bit of a difference here
yeah,
in just the way they're doing it, but they still are going to sell it like the other Halloween movies.
yeah.
Which
So
is why I think we got so little, which I really appreciate because a lot of people call back to that first 2018 trailer when they show Michael coming out of the closet there. That would
yeah,
have been one of the best jump scares in the entire movie.
yeah,
And just how subtle it was without the music and everything, but they gave that away. The
yeah,
fact that they're not giving us so much, like that's why I hope this is the only trailer cuz like that'd be great. Like I don't need anything else. Like they know it's going to sell. They got this one trailer. They're getting a lot of traction off of it. Just let it be. We're so close anyway. Like it's coming out in October. So,
yeah. And that's where it's like I really would have just loved for them to open up Haddonfield in this small little trailer and don't worry about any of the Michael Laurie stuff. We'll get to that eventually and just open up like what Haddonfield looks like now, 4 years
yeah,
later after the events.
and show us just like what kind of a scar that he left on this town
Yeah.
from doing that. Show us what that is and let us build in this trailer. Like that's how I would have done it where it's just let's build the trailer entirely on the essence of Michael Myers like is he still around? Where is he at? Nobody knows. He just walked off. And have we seen him in 4 years? Does he come back every Halloween? Like what are the rumors? I'm sure people are like, oh no, I've seen him. Like I know I saw him walking around. I know I saw this. Like I want to know how far this legend has extended,
Yeah.
and really what effect it has on this town. And then you end the trailer with just a silhouette of Michael Myers like in the streets or something or in a house, and
Yeah. It's
that's where
not
you
over.
end it. Like just show that it's like, and then it just says, all that. And to kind of since we're doing synopsis and poster here briefly, because I think we'll kind of wrap up with a little more synopsis discussion.
Yeah.
I do like the subtlety in the poster, and we'll show you guys right here, where it just says ends. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
it just says ends this Halloween. Like that's cool. And you can kind of see it's a blend of, the last poster and the first poster in a sense.
Yep.
Because like we have the embers, we have the fire, we have the burned out mask, but he's still looking like he did in the first
Yeah.
poster.
It's just all that wear and tear now.
Yeah. And I was listening to Dave McRae's coverage of this trailer because obviously he's one of the biggest resident Halloween fans on this site. So of course I want to hear his opinion. And like he was talking about how there was a big theory going around about how, one of the covers Michael's looking from the left, the other he's looking from the right. And then this one he would have been head on.
Yeah.
So that way you almost have this symmetry of it. And like when he said that, I was just like, damn, like it makes me like this poster a little less. Cause I'm not gonna lie, it's a simple poster and it's just like okay whatever. I like the usage of the text, but I mean that's the only props I can give it because now that I've heard that theory I'm just like why didn't you do that? Like that would have been cool. Like it would have been, I could see that as a wallpaper like at some
Yeah.
point down the road where it's mask on one side, mask on the other, and then him in the middle. Like
Yeah.
it would
And
have been cool.
honestly, like out of the set of posters here, honestly, I think the only one that's really intrigued me had been Halloween Kills, just because it was that orange ish hue. where the other ones just seem a little dull to me. Which I mean, it's Michael. You're not going to get very vibrant things. But this one, it's not bad. It is in line with the other ones. But yeah, I like the progression in the mask where it's almost the same pose. I think that does make sense. Where it's like, okay, now he's been through the ringer here of everything the last two films, so let's put him in that same position, but we'll show the wear and tear on that mask. I think that does tell a story in a way.
They'll look
Um,
good on a shelf. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, he went through a couple of significant events from the start of that 2018 film. So, I mean, the poster itself doesn't wow me, but I do think there was some thought put into that in terms of the way the mask is looking.
Oh yeah. Um, but yeah, I guess to kind of close out our little Halloween trailer breakdown here, I don't want to go too much deeper, just because we want to save some of this stuff for other coverage reviews, and we have some thoughts coming in. Uh, so pretty much, what I'm thinking is we've discussed a little bit of it, but like the Corey Cunningham stuff is definitely, I'm hoping, a little deeper than just the opening triggering event. And like that's the theory that I'd like to subscribe with. But do I think that you're dead on with the opening trigger event? I think you are. Just talking about it, going through it, and really just looking over this stuff, I'm just like, this this definitely seems like the route they're going to take. And
Yeah,
like it disappoints me, but they could surprise us. And like I really hope they do, because
yeah,
like I'm in their corner. I've been in their corner for all three of these films cuz I want a great Halloween movie. But I'm going to be honest and say that they just disappointed me.
yeah. And I'm in that same boat where it's like the synopsis here probably seems like the most intriguing one out of the three, other than me trying to figure out how Michael was taken into custody from the 2018 version. So this does seem intriguing in a very delightful way. I just hope that they make use out of it. I don't really have the highest hopes that they will, based on what we have seen in the past here. But they're coming up with a unique concept. I I wouldn't have called that this whole Corey Cunningham element be thrown in here, but I'm glad that they did. I just hope we're not sitting here after viewing it regretting that that even existed, which can entirely be a possibility with what we've seen in the past. So I don't know. I mean, I think I am intrigued. Again, I'm not going to go into this with the highest hopes, but I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do to make this film feel different. Because I mean, this is your last shot, so you have to finish with that exclamation point on the trilogy, for better or worse, of whatever you feel like where you were at when you first started as to where you're at now. You got to make this one count.
Absolutely. I think if you gotta, if you want to at least bring it home, and for at least me for me to walk out, I would love to walk out of this movie and say that was great. I really
Yep.
love what they did here. Again, I don't want to even. I'm not even going to sit here and say it fixes the other two. It doesn't even have to. Like if I could at least walk out and say that was really good. That was a unique take. That was interesting. I kind of see what they were going for now. That would be cool. But
Yep.
I just kind of think that it'll be more of the same. I will like moments and I will not like moments. But I mean, that's the nature of the beast. We
Yeah.
gotta,
Unfortunately.
we can't all, we have our own, I think everybody has their own ideal version of a Halloween film, especially if you're a horror fan. Um, and like, I think that's the beauty of the character, but it's also at its detriment,
Yep.
because like you're gonna go in and you're gonna want to go one way, and somebody else just honestly is gonna think another way. So
Yep. So I'm intrigued. I mean, I'll be excited because I didn't get out to the theater to see Halloween Kills like I had planned. But with COVID and everything, it was just a weird time.
mhm.
But like this one, I don't even know if it's going to be streaming. I don't know if they've ever
Doesn't
even.
look like it so far, but they kind of dropped it last minute before with Peacock,
Yeah.
so they might do it again.
This one I'll be in the theater to check out. I definitely, since this is supposed to be Halloween ends, I mean, obviously, this probably won't be the last Michael Myers film we get, but maybe for a little bit. So I definitely want to make it out to the theater to see this, just enjoy that opening theme, see what they come up with, and then walk out of there hoping to be pleasantly surprised.
I agree with you 100%. But yeah, guys, that's gonna about wrap us up here for the Halloween Ends trailer breakdown. Thanks for sticking with us here. I hope that you got a little bit out of it, and just let us know. Are you guys excited for the movie? I mean, I would say that we're trepidatious but excited. So you can reach out to us on Twitter at SplattercastPod if you want to keep the conversation going, as well as comment right down below on this video. But yeah, we'll be keeping up with this stuff. So anything else that really comes out, we'll kind of give you guys a quick discussion about it. You know, see what's going on and really just let you know as it progresses what we're thinking. So that way by game day we can all get in that theater and see what's going on, and hopefully they pull through and they stick the landing. That would be really great. I would love that.
I'm excited.
Absolutely.
Either way,
But
I can't wait to sing its praises or just trash it online. Don't even care.
100%. But yeah, that about wraps us up, guys. So again, follow us on Twitter at SplattercastPod, and definitely check out our other videos. We got a lot of great podcasts going on right now, a lot of great shorts. Yeah, and we will see you guys on is this the 14th, October 14th for
Yes.
Halloween Ends. All right, guys, take it easy.